it's Morgan. I hope you are having a great Friday. Mine has been interesting to say the least. I went on a run this morning. I thought it would be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday morning, but it was 35 degrees, so I put on a beanie and my gloves and my jacket and hit my neighborhood because I stay in my neighborhood when it's that early. And I was totally in the zone, like so in the zone. I was still scanning for cars, I guess, but I was in my head and in my music and in my thoughts. And then I found myself rounding a corner. And then as soon as I turned the corner, I saw this giant thing coming toward me, and it looked like it had a cone on, but I didn't know if it was a cone. And then suddenly this dog was jumping on me, a big dog, like a big lab. And all I did was talk to it like it was a toddler. So now I know that my fight or flight reaction when something is literally scaring the daylights out of me is to talk to it like a toddler. Like, hey, oh, it's okay. Hey, we're good. Let's just keep going. And then, wow, I kept just going on my run. That was crazy. So that's how my morning started. Let me know in the comments how your morning started and if you've ever been jumped on by a dog on a dark run. Today, I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk to you all and share with you some thoughts on feedback. I posted a question earlier in the group to see what are your thoughts when you hear I have some feedback for you, or hey, can I give you some feedback, or just on feedback in general. And for the most part, it was pretty clear that most of us are not over the moon about hearing comments like that. I've got some feedback for you. And most of us believe that feedback is going to be negative or something that we don't want to hear. And I think that's really interesting and not unusual. I mean, I feel the same way when somebody says, I've got some feedback for you. My first reaction is not like, oh, great, they're probably going to tell me something wonderful. Because in my experience, if someone has some wonderful feedback for me, they usually don't call it feedback. They just spit it out. So we have been conditioned by this term feedback to kind of immediately go to the negative, and then that becomes our belief. And I've been doing some research on feedback, and I saw something that was like mind blown. And it is from Tara Moore's book, Playing Big. I'm reading that right now. I love it. Recommend it. And she says that she's got a radical invitation for her readers to consider. And that is, what if feedback doesn't actually tell us anything about ourselves? And instead, it tells us about the person giving the feedback. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to say it again. What if feedback doesn't tell us anything about ourselves and instead tells us about the person giving the feedback? Yes, so true. I loved thinking about feedback like this. And here are some examples. Let's take the example of someone saying, I don't think you should wear that. That sweater doesn't look good on you. Or no self-respecting 38-year-old would wear a sweater like that. Does that tell me that I shouldn't wear the sweater? That the sweater and I are not a good match? That the sweater doesn't look good on me? Not necessarily. It tells me that that person who gave me that feedback doesn't believe that women of a certain age should wear sweaters. It tells me what they think about 38-year-old women wearing sweaters. It tells me what they think looks good on a person like me. Doesn't really say anything about me. There are no facts about me. Let's do another example. I don't think you should let your kids watch screens. Your kids watch way too many screens. That could lead me to go into a spiral of, oh my gosh, I'm a bad mom. I let my kids watch screens. My kids are watching too many screens. My kids are going to not be as smart as they could possibly be because they're watching screens. But that's not actually what that feedback told me. That feedback didn't tell me anything, again, about me. It told me about how that person thinks about screen time. That person doesn't think that kids should be watching as many screens or screens for as long as my kids. Really doesn't say anything about me and my decision. And I take it a step further. What about when your kids say, and mine have been saying this to me a lot, you never spend any time with me. You're the worst mom. You're so mean. Everything you do is just mean. Sometimes, depending on my frame of mind, that kind of feedback just cuts right to the heart. If I've been working a lot or if I've been spending extra time on a project and they see me working on it, I can easily go there with them. Oh my gosh, they're right. I haven't been spending much time with them. Or maybe when I lost my temper or said, something in a way I didn't really want to say it, I am being so mean. I am the meanest mom. But again, that feedback doesn't really provide any facts to me. It provides their perspective and their opinion about their own definitions of time. Never spend any time. I mean, we know that's not true. I mean, time is time, right? To them, maybe it doesn't feel like time. To them, maybe I am the meanest, but it is all about what their definition of mean and their definition of time. On the flip side, when somebody says, oh my gosh, I love that sweater. You look amazing in that sweater. Oh, that sweater is the bomb. I would love to take that feedback and be like, yes, you're right. I'm so beautiful. I look perfect in this sweater. I am made for this sweater. But again, even positive feedback doesn't necessarily provide facts about ourselves. It provides facts about the person who said, I look amazing in this sweater. Based on their definition of beauty, I look amazing in this sweater. It does not mean that I am beautiful or that I am not beautiful for everybody. It is one source of information. And so I invite you this weekend, as you are gearing up for the Self-Compassion Challenge and as you're thinking about ways to treat yourself with more kindness, to think about feedback in a different way, to try on this perspective that feedback doesn't actually tell us about ourselves. It tells us about the person who is providing the feedback. So if you receive feedback this weekend that makes you kind of cringe or makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, remember that, because you get to decide what to do with that feedback. The value of feedback is that it informs us in terms of, are we reaching the people that we want to reach? Are we making the impression that we want to make? But it does not define who we are. And typically, that feedback is one source of information. So treat it that way. It is not make or break. It is not all or nothing. And it is not even all about you. So with that, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Don't forget to sign up for the Self-Compassion Challenge. We start on Monday, February 1st. I cannot wait. I have been pouring my heart into this. I have been tested myself this week, which is why I was so curious about where y'all are with feedback, because I was giving myself some pretty, I mean, I'm going to say mean because it was my definition of mean, some pretty mean feedback. And I had the opportunity to do a lot of work on myself and remember, as I'm putting this challenge together for all of us, to treat myself with compassion. So I invite you to do the same thing with me for 14 days in February. And you can sign up at thisempoweredmom.com/self-compassion-challenge. And I cannot wait to see you in our group. Thanks, everybody. Take care.